What I'm about to share with you are 3 real stories from the dark web, 3 cases where the promise of anonymity led people down paths they never should have walked. 3 reminders that just because you can't be seen doesn't mean you can't be caught. These are documented cases with arrests, trials, and convictions. Real people who thought they could hide in the darkness of the internet. Real victims who paid the price for that hubris. And real investigators who proved that no matter how deep you go into the dark web, eventually the light finds you. Story 1. The Dread Pirate Roberts. The 27th of January 2011. An IRS criminal investigator named Gary Alford is doing what he does every day, searching online forums for mentions of tax evasion, money laundering, anything that might lead to a case. And he stumbles across a post on a forum called Shroomery. The post is advertising a new website called Silk Road. Has anyone seen Silk Road yet? The post reads. It's kind of like an anonymous Amazon.com. Alfred clicks the link. And what he finds is unlike anything he's ever seen before. It's a fully functional marketplace, professional, well-designed, with hundreds of listings. But instead of books or electronics, people are selling cocaine, heroin, LSD, MDMA, every drug you can imagine. All transactions are conducted in Bitcoin. All communication is encrypted. All users are anonymous. Welcome to Silk Road, the Amazon of illegal drugs, and it's run by someone who calls himself the Dread Pirate Roberts. The man behind that username is Ross Ulbricht, 27 years old, physics graduate from the University of Texas at Dallas, former Eagle Scout, middle-class kid from Austin with libertarian ideals and a dream of creating a world without government interference. Ross believed, genuinely, deeply believed, that people should be free to make their own choices about what they put in their bodies. He believed drug laws were unjust. He believed the war on drugs was a failure that destroyed lives and filled prisons. And he believed he could create a marketplace where consenting adults could buy and sell drugs safely, without violence, without cartels, without the chaos of street dealing. In January 2011, Ross launched Silk Road on the Tor network, the Onion router, a system designed to anonymize internet traffic by bouncing it through thousands of volunteer computers worldwide. To access Silk Road, you needed special software, you needed Bitcoin, and you needed to know the exact Onion address. But once you were in, it was like stepping into another world. Vendors competed for customers by offering quality products and good service. Buyers left reviews. There was an escrow system to prevent scams. Customer support, a forum where users discussed everything from drug experiences to philosophy to cooking recipes. And Ross, as the Dread Pirate Roberts, became a cult figure. He wrote manifestos about economic freedom. He quoted philosophers. He portrayed himself as a revolutionary fighting government tyranny. And the site grew, massively. By 2013, Silk Road had facilitated over 9.5 million Bitcoin transactions. Ross was taking a commission on every sale, roughly 6%. He was making millions of dollars, and law enforcement was watching. The FBI, DEA, IRS, Homeland Security, Secret Service, multiple agencies were all trying to crack Silk Road. They went undercover as vendors and buyers. They traced Bitcoin transactions. They analyzed the Tor network. But Ross was careful. He used encryption. He never revealed personal details. He operated from public Wi-Fi networks. He moved constantly. But Gary Alford, that IRS investigator who first found Silk Road, he kept digging. In his spare time, on weekends, late at night, he searched for any mention of Silk Road anywhere on the internet. And in 2013, he found something. Back in 2011, someone with the username Altoid had posted about Silk Road on multiple forums promoting the site. Then months later, that same username posted on another forum asking for programming help, and in that post, Altoid provided an email address, rossulbricht@gmail.com. Alford ran the name Ross Ulbricht, and he found something else. In 2012, a man named Ross Ulbricht had posted on StoryCorps, a project that records personal stories. In the recording, Ross talked about wanting to create something meaningful with his life, to make a difference, to change the world. Then, in July 2013, Homeland Security intercepted a package at the Canadian border. Inside were 9 fake IDs, all with different names, all with Ross Ulbricht's photo. The pieces were coming together. Alford shared his findings with the FBI cyber team, and one agent went pale. "Are you sure about the name Frosty?" the agent asked. Because buried in Silk Road's server code, they'd found a username, Frosty@Frosty. It was Ross's server. The 1st of October 2013, Glen Park Branch Library in San Francisco. Ross Ulbricht is sitting at a table with his laptop open, logged into Silk Road as the Dread Pirate Roberts, doing administrative work. He's 29 years old. He's a millionaire. He's running the most successful criminal marketplace in history. And he has no idea that FBI agents are closing in. 2 agents stage a fake argument near his table, loud, distracting, pulling everyone's attention. While Ross is distracted, another agent moves in behind him and snatches his laptop before he can close it or encrypt it. Ross is arrested. The laptop is seized, and on that laptop, investigators find everything: chat logs, financial records, administrative passwords, evidence of millions of dollars in Bitcoin transactions, and something else, something darker. Chat logs showing that Ross, the man who claimed to be fighting for freedom and peace, had allegedly tried to arrange multiple murders. According to the government, Ross paid $730,000 in Bitcoin to have people killed, a blackmailer who threatened to expose Silk Road users, an employee who allegedly stole money, all arranged through messages on the dark web. The government claimed Ross wanted these people tortured and killed to protect his empire. Here's the twist. None of the murders actually happened. The hitmen Ross was communicating with were either scammers or undercover agents. No one died, but the chat logs showed Ross believed the murders were real. He saw photos of a dead body staged by agents. He paid the money. He gave the orders. Ross was never prosecuted for the murder-for-hire charges. There was ambiguity about who sent those messages and whether Ross actually ordered the hits. But in 2015, he was convicted of 7 other charges: engaging in a continuing criminal enterprise, distributing narcotics, conspiracy to commit computer hacking, conspiracy to traffic fraudulent identity documents, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Double life plus 40 years. At sentencing, Ross addressed the court. "I've had my youth, and I know you must take away my middle years," he said. "But please leave me my old age. Please leave a small light at the end of the tunnel." The judge refused. Ross Ulbricht spent the next 11.5 years in federal prison. His mother, Lynn Ulbricht, campaigned tirelessly for his release. The libertarian community rallied around him, painting him as a political prisoner. Free Ross became a rallying cry. On the 21st of January 2025, President Donald Trump granted Ross Ulbricht a full and unconditional pardon. After 11 years behind bars, Ross walked out of prison a free man at age 40. The Silk Road case raises uncomfortable questions. Was Ross a revolutionary fighting unjust laws? Or was he a drug kingpin who facilitated the distribution of deadly narcotics and allegedly ordered murders? Did he deserve life in prison? Or was his sentence excessive? What we know for certain is this: Silk Road changed everything. It proved that anonymous marketplaces could exist on the dark web. It showed that Bitcoin could be used for large-scale illegal transactions, and it inspired countless imitators. When Silk Road fell, a dozen new marketplaces rose to take its place. The dark web drug trade didn't end with Ross Ulbricht's arrest. If anything, it exploded. The genie was out of the bottle, and Ross, the idealistic libertarian who believed he was creating freedom, had actually created a blueprint for digital crime that would be copied and expanded for years to come. Ross Ulbricht is free now, but the question remains: was the Dread Pirate Roberts a hero or a villain, a freedom fighter or a criminal mastermind? The answer probably depends on who you ask. Story 2. The Hitman Who Wasn't. February 2016. Stephen Allwine is sitting at his computer in the middle of the night. He's 43 years old, married, a father, a respected member of his church in Cottage Grove, Minnesota. He works in IT. He's a deacon. By all appearances, he's living the American dream. But Stephen has a problem. His wife, Amy, is making him unhappy. And Stephen Allwine has found a solution on the dark web. Stephen logs into Tor and navigates to a website called Besa Mafia. The site's tagline is simple and chilling: if you want to kill someone or to beat the shit out of him, we are the right guys. Besa Mafia claims to be run by Albanian gangsters, hitmen for hire, professional assassins. All transactions conducted in Bitcoin, all communication encrypted, complete anonymity guaranteed. Stephen creates an account with the username DogDayGod, and he submits his order. He wants Amy Allwine dead, and he wants it to look like an accident. The site administrator responds, the hit will cost $6,000 in Bitcoin. Stephen pays. For the next 3 months, Stephen communicates with Besa Mafia, providing detailed information about Amy's schedule. She's traveling to Moline, Illinois in March. Maybe the hit can happen there? The administrator responds that their hitman was caught by police. Delays, complications. They need more money, another $12,000. Stephen pays again. He's now invested $18,000 in Bitcoin to have his wife murdered, and he's getting impatient. But then in May 2016, something happens that Stephen doesn't know about. A hacker breaks into Besa Mafia's servers and publishes everything. The entire customer database, every order, every target, every communication, and it reveals something shocking. Besa Mafia is a scam. There are no Albanian gangsters. There are no hitmen. It's just a website stealing Bitcoin from people who want to commit murder. A British cybercrime researcher named Chris Montero downloads the data, and what he finds horrifies him. There are hundreds of orders. Hundreds of people who tried to hire assassins to kill spouses, business partners, ex-lovers, enemies. And now Montero has a list of hundreds of potential murder victims. He starts contacting authorities, the FBI, Interpol, local police departments, trying to warn them, trying to save lives. But jurisdictional issues make it complicated. Who investigates? Who warns the targets? The FBI reads through the Besa Mafia messages. They find DogDayGod's orders about Amy Allwine, and they contact Amy. They warn her that someone has tried to hire a hitman to kill her. Amy is shocked, terrified. Who would want her dead? She contacts police. She's careful. She's vigilant. The police tell her to be safe, to report anything suspicious. But without knowing who placed the order, there's not much they can do. Stephen, meanwhile, realizes Besa Mafia scammed him. He's out $18,000 and his wife is still alive, so he tries a different approach. In June 2016, Stephen logs into Dream Market, another dark web marketplace, and he inquires about buying scopolamine, a drug known as the devil's breath. In high doses, it erases memory and renders victims incapable of exercising free will. It can be dissolved in liquids or sprinkled on food. Investigators would later determine Stephen purchased the drug and had it delivered to his home. The 13th of November 2016. Stephen calls 911 at 8:52 a.m. His voice is panicked. "My wife's been shot. I think she shot herself." When police arrive at the Allwine home, they find Amy lying on the floor of the master bedroom. She's been shot once in the head with a 9mm pistol. The gun is lying near her body. Stephen is distraught, sobbing, telling officers that Amy must have killed herself. He'd been sleeping downstairs when he heard the gunshot. The scene is staged to look like suicide, but investigators immediately notice problems. The gun is in Amy's left hand, but Amy was right-handed. There's gunshot residue on Stephen's hands, not Amy's, and the blood spatter patterns are inconsistent with suicide. Then they test Amy's blood, and they find scopolamine, over 45 times higher than a therapeutic dose. Police start investigating Stephen's computer, and they find something that links him directly to Dog Day God, a deleted backup file containing the exact same Bitcoin wallet address that Dog Day God had used to pay Besa Mafia. Stephen Allwine is arrested and charged with first-degree murder. At his trial in 2018, prosecutors lay out the timeline. Stephen tried to hire a hitman. When that failed, he drugged his wife with scopolamine to make her compliant, then shot her in the head and staged it as a suicide. The motive? Stephen was having an affair with another woman and wanted out of his marriage, but as a deacon in his conservative church community, divorce was unacceptable. Murder seemed easier. Stephen Allwine was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without parole. He's currently serving his sentence at Minnesota Correctional Facility in Oak Park Heights. Amy Allwine's family was devastated. She was a loving mother, a devoted member of her church, a kind person who never hurt anyone, and she was murdered by the man who promised to love her, who stood beside her in church, who prayed with her. The Besa Mafia case exposed something terrifying about the dark web. Even when the service is fake, the intent is real. Hundreds of people tried to hire hitmen. Hundreds of people submitted the names of people they wanted dead. And when those people realized they'd been scammed, some of them, like Stephen Allwine, decided to do it themselves. Chris Montero's data from the Besa Mafia hack led to at least 25 arrests and over 30 convictions across multiple countries. In 2022, Romanian authorities arrested 5 people alleged to be the administrators of Besa Mafia. The man believed to be the mastermind, known only as Yura, had run the scam for years, collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars from would-be murderers. But the damage was done. At least 2 people on Besa Mafia's kill list were actually murdered, not by hitmen, but by the customers who hired them. Stephen Allwine killed Amy. Another case in Tennessee followed the same pattern. The dark web promised anonymity. It promised a world without consequences, and people like Stephen Allwine believed it. They thought they could order a murder like ordering a pizza, pay in Bitcoin, and walk away clean. They were wrong. Amy Allwine paid for that mistake with her life, and Stephen Allwine will spend the rest of his life in prison, knowing that the dark web he trusted was nothing but smoke and mirrors. Story 3. The Millionaire in Paradise. Bangkok, Thailand. The 5th of July, 2017. 11 a.m. Alexandra Casas is at home in his luxury villa in one of Bangkok's most exclusive neighborhoods. He's 25 years old. He's a millionaire. He owns a Lamborghini Aventador, a Porsche Panamera, and a BMW motorcycle. He has multiple properties in Thailand, Cyprus, and Antigua, and he's about to make a fatal mistake. Alexandra, known online as Alpha02, is sitting at his laptop, logged into Alphabay as the site administrator. Alphabay is the largest criminal marketplace on the internet, 10 times bigger than Silk Road ever was. Over 400,000 users, over 40,000 vendors, facilitating $600,000 to $800,000 in transactions every single day. On Alphabay, you can buy anything illegal: drugs of every variety, stolen credit card numbers, fake IDs and passports, hacking tools and malware, guns, even toxic chemicals. It's an eBay for criminals, and Alexandre Casas built it. What Alexandre doesn't know is that the FBI has spent months tracking him. They know who he is, they know where he lives, and they know he's logged into Alphabay right now. Royal Thai police, assisted by FBI and DEA agents, are preparing to raid his house. They're waiting for the perfect moment. And that moment comes when Alphabay experiences a server error. Law enforcement artificially created the failure. They're watching as Alexandre frantically tries to diagnose the problem and reboot the servers. The raid team rams through Alexandre's front gate. Thai police storm the villa. Alexandre tries to scramble away from his laptop, but it's too late. They grab him, and his laptop is still open, still unlocked, still logged into Alphabay as the administrator. On that unencrypted laptop, investigators find everything: passwords for Alphabay servers, admin access credentials, and a spreadsheet, a personal net worth statement where Alexandre had meticulously documented every asset he owned: bank accounts in Thailand, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Cyprus, and Antigua, cryptocurrency wallets containing millions, properties, vehicles, everything. Alexandre Casas had just handed law enforcement a roadmap to his entire criminal empire. The FBI seizes approximately 1,943 Bitcoin, 8,669 Ethereum, 3,691 Zcash, 11,993 Monero, plus his luxury cars, his properties, and a hotel he owned in Thailand. Alexandre is arrested and held at Thailand's Narcotics Suppression Bureau headquarters. He's facing extradition to the United States on charges of racketeering, narcotics trafficking, identity theft, money laundering, and computer fraud. If convicted, he's looking at life in prison, but Alexandre Casas never faces trial. On the 12th of July, 2017, exactly 1 week after his arrest, guards find Alexandre hanging in his cell. He's used a towel. The Thai police rule it suicide. Alexandre Casas is dead at age 26. The FBI moves quickly. On the 20th of July, 2017, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announces the takedown of Alphabay. This is likely one of the most important criminal cases of the year, Sessions says at a press conference. But the FBI has coordinated something even bigger. While they were working on Alphabay, Dutch law enforcement was investigating Hansa Market, NTA, another major dark web marketplace. And when Alphabay went offline on July 4, Dutch police didn't shut down Hansa. They took it over. For nearly a month, Dutch authorities ran Hansa as a honeypot. When panicked, Alphabay users fled to Hansa. Law enforcement was watching. They collected IP addresses. They intercepted packages. They identified thousands of buyers and sellers. When the operation finally ended, authorities had identified over 10,000 addresses of Hansa buyers. They stopped over 500 drug deliveries in the Netherlands alone. Europol sent intelligence packages to law enforcement in 37 countries. Hundreds of investigations were launched simultaneously around the world. The coordinated takedown of Alphabay and Hansa was the largest dark web law enforcement operation in history, and it sent a message to the dark web community. You are not as anonymous as you think. But how did Alexandre Casas, who had successfully run Alphabay for over 2 years, get caught? The answer is almost embarrassing in its simplicity: carelessness. When Alexandre first launched Alphabay in 2014, he made a rookie mistake. The automated welcome emails sent to new users had a "from" address, pimp_alex_91@hotmail.com. The same email address Alexandre had used to create his LinkedIn profile, the same address he'd used for his legitimate computer repair business in Canada. That email address had his birth year in it, 1991, and his name, Pimp Alex. When investigators searched that email, they found posts on tech forums going back to 2008 where Alexandra used it. They found his real identity. They found his location. They found everything. Alexandra also used the online handle Alpha02 for years before creating AlphaBay. He'd used it on carding forums, hacking forums, tech forums. He advertised himself as the designer, administrator, and owner of AlphaBay using that same handle. He left a trail of breadcrumbs across the internet. And then there was the lifestyle. Alexandra couldn't resist showing off his wealth. He posted videos of himself driving his Lamborghini. He bought properties under his real name. He lived large in Bangkok, throwing money around, attracting attention. The FBI even showed arrest footage of Alexandra at a cybersecurity conference in 2018. The video shows Thai police cornering him in his villa. As Alexandra realizes what's happening, he tries to move away from his laptop. Too late. The FBI agent narrating the video joked about it. The audience laughed. Alexandra Kazes died before he could face justice, but his death didn't stop the investigation. In 2023, investigators discovered that one of AlphaBay's early users, a man named James Zhang, had hacked Silk Road back in 2012 and stolen over 50,000 Bitcoin. Zhang had hidden it in a floor safe, a safe in his bathroom, and in a popcorn tin in his basement. All of it was seized. And in August 2021, something strange happened. A verified user with the same public key as Alexandra Kazes' second-in-command, a person called DeSnake, relaunched AlphaBay 2. The new site claimed to have learned from past mistakes, to prioritize operational security, to never make the errors that led to Alexandra's arrest. Whether AlphaBay 2 is legitimate or a law enforcement honeypot, no one knows for certain. But the cycle continues. Dark web marketplaces rise and fall. Administrators get rich and get caught. New sites replace old ones. The technology evolves. The cat and mouse game between criminals and law enforcement continues. Alexandra Kazes thought he was untouchable. He lived in Thailand, a country without an extradition treaty with the US for many crimes. He used Tor. He used encryption. He used cryptocurrency. He believed the technology would protect him, but technology can't protect you from human error. And Alexandra made too many mistakes. He used his personal email. He bragged online. He left his laptop unlocked. He documented all his assets in a spreadsheet on that laptop. And when Thai police kicked in his door, all of his wealth, all of his careful planning, all of his supposed anonymity evaporated in an instant. 7 days later, he was dead. AlphaBay was gone, and law enforcement had proven once again that the dark web's promise of anonymity is an illusion. 3 stories. 3 men who thought they could operate in darkness without consequences. Ross Ulbricht, who built an empire on the dark web and was sentenced to life in prison. Stephen Allwine, who tried to hire a hitman and ended up murdering his wife himself. Alexandra Kazes, who became a millionaire running the world's largest criminal marketplace and died in a jail cell at age 26. The dark web is still there. Right now, as you read this, hundreds of criminal marketplaces are operating on Tor. Drugs are being sold. Stolen data is being traded. Hackers are offering their services. And new people, convinced they're smarter than those who came before, convinced they won't make the same mistakes, are diving into that darkness thinking they'll emerge untouched. The cycle never ends. The darkness never truly lifts. And somewhere, right now, someone is making the same mistakes these 3 men made, convinced that this time will be different. It won't be. It never is. The dark web keeps its promises of anonymity right up until the moment it doesn't. And by then, it's far too late.
We made it out of this one, but the darkness runs deep. If you think you can handle it, check out the other cases on the channel. Don't risk losing the signal. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. The next investigation is starting now.